Have you ever wondered why someone who seemed so desperate to get you back suddenly becomes distant again the moment you let them in? Why they chase you when you're gone, but run away when you're close? If you've ever been caught in this exhausting cycle with someone who keeps returning to your life only to disappear again, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not crazy for feeling confused by this pattern. Today, we're going to uncover the psychology behind why avoidant people always seem to come back, but never actually stay. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what drives this behavior, why it feels so compelling to both you and them, and most importantly, how to protect yourself from getting trapped in this cycle again. But first, let me ask you something. How many times have you heard these words? I made a mistake. I miss you. I want to try again, only to find yourself right back where you started weeks or months later. If this sounds familiar, keep watching, because what I'm about to share will change how you see these situations forever. Now, to understand this maddening pattern, we need to break it down into parts. Let's start with the first part of this puzzle. Why do avoidant people always seem to come back? The answer lies in understanding what happens in their mind when you're no longer available. When you first start pulling away, or when the relationship ends, something interesting happens in the avoidant person's brain. The very thing that made them want to run away, intimacy and closeness, is no longer a threat. You're not there asking for emotional connection. You're not there wanting deeper conversations. You're not there needing reassurance or commitment. Suddenly, all that fear they felt about being trapped, controlled, or losing their independence disappears. And in that space, something else emerges. They start to remember the good times. They start to miss the companionship. They start to idealize what you had together. This is where it gets really important to understand how the avoidant mind works. These individuals learned early in life that depending on others leads to disappointment. Maybe their caregivers were inconsistent, emotionally unavailable, or made them feel like their needs were too much. So they developed a protective strategy: stay independent, don't get too close, and you won't get hurt. But here's the thing about human beings. We're wired for connection. Even people with avoidant attachment styles crave relationships. They just want them on their terms, at a safe distance. So when you're gone, that distance feels perfect. They can miss you without feeling threatened by your presence. This is why they always come back with such intensity. They've convinced themselves that this time will be different. They've forgotten why they left in the first place, because those triggers, the need for intimacy, emotional availability, commitment, aren't present when you're not around. Think about it like this. When you're hungry, a simple sandwich looks amazing. But when you're full, that same sandwich doesn't seem appealing at all. For avoidant people, you become appealing again when the threat of intimacy is removed by your absence. They'll text you saying they've been thinking about you. They'll tell you they realize what they lost. They might even say they're ready to commit or change. And here's the crucial part. In that moment, they often genuinely believe it. This isn't necessarily manipulation, though the effect can feel manipulative. It's their avoidance system temporarily relaxed because the perceived threat is gone. During your absence, they've had time to process the relationship without feeling overwhelmed. They remember the laughter, the good conversations, the physical connection, the companionship. What they don't remember as clearly are the moments when you asked for emotional support, when you wanted to discuss the future, or when you expressed concerns about their availability. Those moments feel threatening to their system, so they get filtered out of their memory when you're not around to trigger those feelings. This selective memory is incredibly powerful. It's not that they're lying to themselves or to you. Their brain is literally protecting them from remembering the parts of intimacy that feel dangerous. So when they reach out, they're operating from this filtered version of your relationship where everything was mostly good and they just made a silly mistake by letting you go. Another factor that drives their return is what psychologists call phantom X syndrome. When someone is no longer available, they suddenly become the perfect partner in the avoidant person's mind. All the stress and anxiety they felt about commitment disappears, and they're left with an idealized version of you and the relationship. And when they do come back, something magical seems to happen. There's often a period where they're attentive, affectionate, and seem like exactly the person you always hoped they could be. They remember your favorite things. They make plans. They talk about the future. For a while, it feels like a dream come true. This phase can last anywhere from a few days to a few months, depending on how quickly intimacy builds and how fast their avoidance system gets triggered again. During this time, you might think they've genuinely changed. You might believe that your time apart helped them realize what they really want. But here's what's actually happening during this seemingly perfect time. They're operating in what psychologists call the activation phase of their attachment system. Because you were gone, their attachment system activated to bring you back. They're running on reunion energy, the relief and happiness of reconnecting with someone important to them. However, this activation phase is temporary. Once they feel secure that you're back and available, their avoidance system starts to come online again. Slowly but surely, intimacy begins to feel threatening again. Your needs start to feel overwhelming again. Your desire for closeness starts to feel suffocating again. The problem is, you're experiencing something completely different during this time. You're feeling hope. You're feeling like your patience and love have finally paid off. You're bonding even deeper because you've been through the pain of separation and the joy of reunion. Your attachment system is strengthening while theirs is preparing to shut down again. This creates a perfect storm for heartbreak, because just as you're feeling most connected and hopeful, they're beginning to feel most trapped and overwhelmed. But this brings us to the second part of our puzzle, and perhaps the most painful part to understand. Why don't they ever stay? Why does this person who fought so hard to get you back start pulling away again? The answer lies in understanding that for avoidant people, intimacy feels dangerous. Not logically, they know you're not actually dangerous, but at a deep, primitive level that was programmed early in their life. When they get close, alarm bells start going off in their nervous system. As the seemingly perfect phase winds down and normal relationship dynamics return, all those old triggers start firing again. You want to talk about your feelings. That feels overwhelming. You want to make plans together. That feels controlling. You want reassurance about the relationship. That feels needy. You want to deepen your connection. That feels terrifying. Their nervous system starts sending signals that they need to create distance to feel safe again. This isn't a conscious choice they're making. It's an automatic response that developed to protect them from what they perceived as threatening relationships in their past. So they start doing what they know how to do. They become less available. They stop initiating contact as much. They become more focused on work, friends, hobbies, anything that creates some breathing room from the intensity of the relationship. They might start picking fights over small things because conflict creates the distance they're unconsciously craving. If you try to address this pulling away, it often makes things worse. From their perspective, you wanting to talk about the relationship confirms their fear that you're trying to control them or make them into something they're not. Your natural response to their withdrawal, seeking reassurance, trying to reconnect, expressing your needs, triggers their avoidance system even more. Eventually, they reach a breaking point where the discomfort of staying feels greater than the discomfort of leaving, so they leave again. They might ghost you, pick a fight and use it as an excuse to end things, or simply announce that they need space, but they leave, often leaving you completely confused about what went wrong. The cruel irony is that the very things that made them come back, missing you, idealizing the relationship, forgetting why they left, start the cycle all over again once they're gone. Now, you might be wondering what's really happening in their minds during all of this. To really understand this pattern, we need to look at what's happening psychologically for avoidant people. Their attachment system works differently than yours probably does. Most people with secure attachment styles feel safer when they're close to their loved ones. Proximity equals safety. But for avoidant people, proximity often equals danger. They learned early that getting too close to others leads to hurt, disappointment, or loss of self. This creates what psychologists call an approach-avoidance conflict. Part of them genuinely wants connection and love, but another part of them sees that same connection as a threat to their survival. So they're constantly caught between moving toward you and moving away from you. When they're away from you, the approach system is stronger because there's no immediate threat. They can safely miss you and want you back. But when they're with you, the avoidance system gets stronger because now the perceived threat of intimacy is real and present. This is why they can seem like two completely different people, the person who desperately wants you back and the person who can't wait to get away from you. In a very real sense, they are two different people, depending on which part of their attachment system is activated. Understanding this doesn't excuse the behavior or mean you should accept it, but it does help explain why this pattern is so consistent and why it feels so confusing to experience. But here's what makes this situation even more complicated. This pattern isn't just hard on you, it's actually designed in a way that makes it incredibly difficult to walk away from. Let me explain why this pattern is so addictive both for them and for you. For the avoidant person, this cycle meets their psychological needs perfectly. They get connection without having to fully commit to it. They get the validation of being wanted without having to risk being truly vulnerable. They get to feel important to someone without having to make themselves consistently available. It's like having a relationship on their terms, all the benefits with minimal risk. When it gets too intense, they can leave. When they miss it, they can come back. They maintain control while still getting their attachment needs met in small, manageable doses. But why is it so addictive for you? Why do you keep letting them back in, even when you know how it's likely to end? There are several psychological reasons this pattern can become almost irresistible. First, there's something called intermittent reinforcement. When someone gives you love and attention unpredictably, sometimes they're amazing, sometimes they're distant, your brain actually becomes more attached to them, not less. Think about gambling. If slot machines paid out every time, they wouldn't be addictive. It's the unpredictability that keeps people pulling the lever. The avoidance cycle works the same way. The incredible highs of reunion followed by the crushing lows of abandonment create a powerful psychological hook. Second, there's the challenge factor. When someone is hard to get or keep, our brains interpret that as them being more valuable. If they were easy to have, they wouldn't feel as special. But because they keep leaving, having them feels like winning a prize. Third, there's hope. Every time they come back, it feels like proof that they really do care, that they really do want to be with you. You think if you could just love them enough, be patient enough, or figure out the right way to be with them, you could make them stay. Finally, there's trauma bonding. The intense emotional highs and lows create a biochemical addiction. Your brain starts craving the relief and joy of reunion, even though you know the pain of abandonment is coming again. And this leads us to something really important we need to talk about. Being caught in this cycle isn't just emotionally exhausting. It can have serious impacts on your mental health and self-worth. When someone keeps leaving you, no matter how many times they come back, your brain starts to internalize the message that you're not worth staying for. You might start believing that if you were just better somehow, more attractive, more understanding, less needy, they would finally choose to stay. This can lead to anxiety, depression, and an erosion of your sense of self. You might find yourself walking on eggshells, trying to be the perfect partner so they won't leave again. You might start suppressing your own needs and feelings to avoid triggering their avoidance. Over time, this can completely distort your understanding of what healthy love looks like. You might start believing that love is supposed to be this hard, this uncertain, this painful. You might lose touch with your own worth and what you deserve in a relationship. Sometimes people find themselves repeatedly attracted to avoidant partners because somewhere deep down, they believe that if they can just get this person to stay, it will prove their worthiness of love. It becomes less about the actual relationship and more about winning a game that feels impossible to win. This is why breaking the cycle isn't just about recognizing avoidant behavior in others. It's also about understanding what draws you to these dynamics in the first place. What is it about the chase that feels compelling? What is it about earning someone's love that feels more valuable than receiving someone's freely given affection? So the question becomes, how do you break free from this exhausting pattern? Because here's the truth that might be hard to hear, but that you need to understand. The first step is understanding that you cannot change an avoidant person's attachment style through love, patience, or being the perfect partner. Their avoidance isn't about you, it's about their own internal relationship with intimacy that was formed long before they met you. This means that no matter what you do differently, the outcome is likely to be the same unless they do significant work on themselves, usually with professional help. And that work has to be motivated by their own desire to change, not by their desire to keep you. The second step is recognizing your own patterns. What is it about this cycle that keeps you engaged? Are you trying to prove your worth by getting them to stay? Are you addicted to the intensity? Do you believe this is what love is supposed to feel like? Understanding your own psychology is crucial to breaking free. Third, you need to establish and maintain boundaries. This means deciding what you will and won't accept, and sticking to those decisions even when they come back with promises and declarations of love. It means being willing to lose them permanently rather than continue to lose yourself in the cycle. Fourth, focus on building your own secure attachment. This often means working on your relationship with yourself, healing your own attachment wounds, and learning what healthy love actually looks like. When you truly understand your worth, you won't be willing to accept crumbs of affection from someone who can't fully show up for you. Part of building secure attachment means learning to trust your own perceptions and feelings. If something feels off in a relationship, trust that feeling. Don't let someone else's words override your own experience of their actions. Secure people don't need to convince others to stay. They create relationships where people want to stay. Now, before we wrap up, it's important to address something that many people wonder about. Can avoidant people actually change? And if so, how can you tell the difference between real change and another false start? The answer is yes, avoidant people can change, but it requires significant self-awareness and usually professional help. Real change doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen just because they miss you or realize what they've lost. Real change looks like someone taking responsibility for their patterns without blaming their past or their partners. It looks like them actively working with a therapist who specializes in attachment issues. It looks like them being able to stay present during difficult conversations instead of shutting down or running away. Most importantly, real change means they stop using the cycle itself. Someone who has genuinely addressed their avoidance won't keep leaving and coming back. They'll work through their discomfort with intimacy instead of running from it. If an avoidant person in your life is claiming to have changed, look at their actions over time, not their words in the moment. Are they consistently showing up differently? Are they doing the work even when it's hard? Are they able to communicate about their feelings and fears instead of just acting them out? Remember, you deserve someone who chooses you consistently, not someone who only wants you when you're unavailable. You deserve someone who works through relationship challenges with you, not someone who runs from them. So let me leave you with this final thought. The cycle of avoidant people coming back but never staying is painful, confusing, and ultimately unsustainable for healthy relationships. Understanding the psychology behind it can help you make better choices about who you invest your time and heart in. Your time and love are precious. Don't spend them on someone who can only receive them in small, inconsistent doses. There are people out there who will not only come back, but will choose to stay, work through challenges with you, and build something real and lasting. You deserve nothing less than someone who sees your worth and chooses to stay, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. That's what real love looks like. Have you experienced this exhausting cycle of someone always coming back but never staying? Share in the comments which part of this pattern you recognize most in your own experience and what strategies have been most helpful in breaking free from it. If this helped you understand the psychology behind avoidant relationship patterns and why they're so hard to escape, like this video and subscribe for more insights about healing from difficult relationship dynamics and building healthier connections.